He wrote a letter for her every year, but he never had the courage to send even one of them. Sometimes, the person who means the most to us is not the person we lose because of distance. Sometimes, it is the person we lose because we are too afraid to speak. My name is Alex. I was 26 years old when I met Emma. At that time, I was working in a small office in the city. My life was simple. I worked during the day, studied at night, and spent most of my free time alone. I was not unhappy, but I always felt that something was missing. Every morning, before going to work, I stopped at a small coffee shop near my office. I liked that place because it was quiet. The smell of coffee, the soft music, and the friendly people made my mornings better. One rainy Monday morning, I entered the coffee shop as usual. I ordered my coffee and sat near the window. While I was looking outside, I noticed a girl standing near the counter. She was trying to carry a coffee cup, a book, and her phone at the same time. Suddenly, her book fell on the floor. I quickly stood up and helped her. She smiled and said, "Thank you. I think my hands are too small for all these things." I laughed. "Maybe you just need another hand." She smiled again. That was the first time I saw her smile. I did not know it at that moment, but that small moment would become one of the most important memories of my life. Her name was Emma. She came to the coffee shop every morning. After that day, we started seeing each other often. At first, we only said simple things. "Good morning. How was your day? Have a nice day." But slowly, our conversations became longer. We talked about books. We talked about dreams. We talked about our childhood memories. I discovered that Emma loved photography. She liked taking pictures of simple things. A street after rain. An old building. A person smiling. She always said, "Beautiful moments are everywhere. We just need to notice them." I like that idea. Because before meeting her, I was always waiting for something big to happen. But Emma taught me that small moments can also be special. One day, we sat together in the coffee shop for almost 2 hours. She asked me, "What is your biggest dream?" I thought for a moment. Then I said, "I want to become someone my family can be proud of." She smiled. "That is a good dream." Then I asked her, "What about you?" She looked outside the window and said, "I want to travel the world and take pictures of places people forget." I smiled. "You have big dreams." She laughed. "Yes, maybe too big." I said, "I don't think dreams are too big. Sometimes we just need more time to reach them." She looked at me and smiled. That was the moment I realized something. I was starting to like her, more than just a friend. But I was afraid. Afraid to tell her. Afraid of changing everything. After that day, Emma and I became closer. We started talking every day. Sometimes we talked in the coffee shop. Sometimes we walked in the city after work. Sometimes we just sat in a park and talked about life. I enjoyed every moment with her. She made normal days feel special. Before meeting Emma, I never paid attention to small things. But with her, everything felt different. A simple walk in the street became a beautiful memory. A short conversation became something I looked forward to all day. One evening, we were walking home after drinking coffee. The sky was orange because of the sunset. Emma suddenly stopped and looked at an old building. She took out her camera and took a picture. I asked, "Why did you take a picture of that building?" She smiled and said, "Because one day, this building may disappear. But this picture will keep the memory." I looked at her. She always found beauty in things that other people ignored. I said, "You see the world differently." She laughed. "Maybe everyone sees the world differently. We just need someone who understands our view." Those words stayed in my mind. The problem was that I was becoming more and more afraid. I wanted to tell her how I felt. Many times, I prepared the words in my mind. I thought, "Today I will tell her." But every time I saw her smile, I became nervous. I was afraid of losing what we already had. What if she did not feel the same? What if things became uncomfortable? What if our friendship ended? So I stayed silent. One night, I decided to write her a letter. I sat at my desk and started writing. I wrote, "Dear Emma, I don't know when it happened, but you became an important part of my life. You made my ordinary days better. You made me believe that happiness can be found in simple moments." I stopped writing. I looked at the letter. Then I thought, is this a good idea? I folded the paper and put it inside my drawer. I decided, maybe tomorrow. Days passed. Then weeks passed. I kept writing letters. One letter after another. But I never gave her any of them. Sometimes I wrote about a beautiful memory. Sometimes I wrote about how much I appreciated her. Sometimes I wrote about my fear. The letters became a secret part of my life. One morning, Emma came to the coffee shop looking different. She was quiet. I asked, "Are you okay?" She smiled, but I noticed something was wrong. She said, "I have some news." My heart started beating faster. I asked, "What happened?" She took a deep breath. "I got accepted for a photography program." I smiled. "That's amazing." She looked happy, but then she continued, "It's in another country." My smile slowly disappeared. I tried to be happy for her, and I was. But inside, I felt something breaking. She was going to leave. After all this time, after all the words I never said, I might lose my chance forever. That night, I opened my drawer. I looked at all the letters. There were many of them. I held them in my hands and asked myself, why did I wait so long? For the first time, I understood something important. Sometimes we don't lose people because they leave. Sometimes we lose them because we never tell them how important they are. The next morning, I decided I would finally tell Emma the truth. No more waiting. No more fear. I took the first letter from my drawer and put it in my bag. I went to the coffee shop, but when I arrived, Emma was not there. And on my phone, I saw a message from her. The message said, "Alex, I need to tell you something before I leave." I looked at Emma's message again and again. My hands were shaking. I quickly replied, "Where are you? Can we meet?" A few minutes later, she answered, "I am at the park near the coffee shop." I immediately left. While I was walking there, many thoughts were in my mind. I thought about all the moments we shared. Our first conversation, our walks after work, our long talks about dreams, and all the letters I wrote but never gave her. I kept thinking, why didn't I say something earlier? When I arrived at the park, I saw Emma sitting on a bench. She was looking at the trees and holding her camera. When she saw me, she smiled. "Alex, you came." I sat beside her. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Finally, Emma said, "I wanted to tell you something." I looked at her. "I'm listening." She took a deep breath. "My photography program starts next month. I will leave in 3 weeks." I nodded. "I know. I am happy for you." She smiled. "Thank you. But there is something else." I looked at her. She said, "These years with you have been very special to me." My heart started beating faster. She continued, "You were always there when I needed someone to talk to. You always believed in my dreams." I wanted to say something. I wanted to tell her everything. But fear was still inside me. Then she asked, "Alex, is there something you want to tell me?" I looked at the ground. I remembered all my letters, all the words I had kept inside. I reached into my bag. I took out the letter. My hands were nervous. I gave it to her. She looked surprised. "What is this?" I said, "Something I should have given you a long time ago." Emma slowly opened the letter. She started reading. The letter was not perfect. The handwriting was not perfect, but every word was honest. I wrote about how she changed my life. I wrote about the happiness she brought to my ordinary days. I wrote about my fear of losing her. When she finished reading, she was quiet. For a moment, I did not know what she was thinking. Then she looked at me and smiled. "Alex." She stopped for a second. "Why did you wait so long?" I smiled sadly. "Because I was afraid." She looked at me and said, "Sometimes we are more afraid of losing something than we are excited about what we can gain." Those words were exactly what I needed to hear. Emma held the letter carefully. Then she said, "I want you to know something." "What?" "I also had something to tell you." She opened her bag and took out a small envelope. "I wrote this a few days ago." I looked surprised. "For me?" She nodded. I opened it. Inside was a simple note. It said, "Some people enter our lives and make normal days feel special. Thank you for being one of those people." I looked at her. "You wrote this for me?" She smiled. "Yes." We sat in the park for a long time. We talked about our fears. We talked about the future. We talked about the distance between us. It was not an easy conversation, because sometimes love is not only about being together. Sometimes love is also about supporting someone's dreams. Before we left, Emma said, "Promise me something." I asked, "What?" "Don't stop writing." I smiled. "Writing?" "Yes. You have a lot of things in your heart. Don't keep them hidden forever." I promised. 3 weeks later, Emma left for her photography program. The first days were difficult. I missed our conversations. I missed seeing her at the coffee shop. I missed her smile. But we stayed in contact. We sent messages. We shared pictures. We talked about our days. The distance was not easy, but we learned something. When two people truly care about each other, distance does not always end a connection. Sometimes it makes it stronger. The letter I finally sent. Months passed after Emma left. At first, everything felt strange. The coffee shop was not the same without her. Every morning, I looked at the chair near the window where she used to sit. Sometimes I remembered our conversations and smiled. Sometimes I missed those simple moments. But I was also happy. Emma was following her dream. She was learning. She was taking amazing photos. She was seeing new places. And I realized something important. Loving someone does not mean holding them back. Sometimes, loving someone means supporting them, even when they are far away. During those months, I continued writing. But this time, I was not hiding my words. I wrote about my days. I wrote about my thoughts. I wrote about small things that made me happy. And every month, I sent Emma a letter. Not because I wanted an answer. Not because I wanted anything from her. I sent them because I wanted to share my life with someone important. 1 year later, something unexpected happened. I was sitting in the same coffee shop where I first met Emma. I was writing a letter. Suddenly, I heard a familiar voice. "Are you still writing letters?" I stopped. I looked up. It was Emma. For a moment, I could not believe it. She was standing there with her camera in her hand. She smiled. "Hello, Alex." I stood up. "Emma, when did you come back?" She laughed. "Yesterday." I looked at her. "You didn't tell me?" She smiled. "I wanted to surprise you." We sat at our old table. The same window. The same coffee shop. But we were not the same people anymore. We had both changed. We had learned. We had grown. Emma showed me her photos. She had traveled to different places. She had taken pictures of people, streets, and beautiful moments. I was proud of her. I told her about my life. I told her about my work. I told her about the things I learned. Then she asked, "Do you still have the old letters?" I smiled. "Of course." She laughed. "You kept them all?" "Yes." "Why?" I looked at her and said, "Because they remind me of who I was and how much you changed my life." A few days later, I gave Emma a small box. She opened it. Inside were all the letters I had written over the years. She looked surprised. "You are giving me these?" I nodded. "Yes, these were always meant for you." She carefully picked up one letter. Then she said, "You know, the most beautiful thing about these letters is not the words." I asked, "Then what is it?" She smiled. "They show that someone cared enough to remember small moments." Years passed. Life continued. We faced many challenges. There were difficult days. There were misunderstandings. There were moments when things were not easy. But we learned to talk. We learned to listen. We learned that a strong relationship is not built only on happy moments. It is built on patience, honesty, and respect. Many years later, I looked back at that first day in the coffee shop. A simple morning. A dropped book. A small conversation. At that time, I did not know that a few seconds could change my whole life. But now I understand. The most important moments in life are often very quiet. They do not come with big announcements. They arrive naturally. And if we are not paying attention, we may miss them. Final message. Sometimes, we wait too long to say what we feel. We think there will always be another day, another chance, another moment. But life teaches us that time is valuable. If someone is important to you, show them. If you have something kind to say, say it. If you have a dream, follow it. Because the words we never say can become the memories we never have. And sometimes, one honest conversation can change a person's life forever. The end. For more stories and English learning podcasts, be sure to visit our channel. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching and being with us. See you in the next story. Goodbye.